Hi, everybody. So, when I did the visit with Christina Strutt, founder of Cabbages and Roses, a few visits ago, we did her magical, fairy like home. And I mentioned that she had a loft that she rents out through Airbnb. And I got so many questions about it, I thought, well, I better go back and film that. It was actually occupied when I did the last visit. So, here we are in the loft. And I've spent quite some time here myself as a guest, but I just thought it was a wonderful example of just really simple, beautiful living. Here we have the beauty of imperfection of a sofa, slip-covered sofa that's been washed numerous times. It's all a bit misfitting now, but it fits beautifully. So that's just a perfect, just acceptance of something that's all mushy in the most beautiful ways. So this is the little entry table, which also, it houses both a guest book, but now with the new COVID rules, we're just now open here in England for people to be able to travel around from different Airbnbs and hotels. So those are the instructions. Those are some flowers from the garden. And then all of the prints that you see are all from Cabbages and Roses, of course. Now, when I stayed here the first time, which was nearly a couple of years ago now, where I was kind of working out what part of Somerset I wanted to be, there was actually no even Wi-Fi here, but I certainly was very satisfied with all the books and magazines. More flowers from the garden. So, you can see it's a lovely big space, but it has, it's kind of compartmentalized into living, sleeping, bathroom, kitchen. So that's the bed over there, obviously. Very comfy. You'll see a couple of little shelves on the side that kind of are like ragged edged wood. And those you'll see throughout this loft. And those are actually made by her son, Edward. I'm going to give a link to his business because he's actually a tree surgeon. That's how he's able to get his hands on these wonderful pieces of wood. But he also now makes the most extraordinary things. He's a true Renaissance man. You can see here a little bit more of the evidence of that imperfectly edged wood that's been whitewashed, actually. And we'll swing past the bathroom. I don't know whether you yourself have been doing a lot of clear outs during lockdown. I certainly have. And I just think it's a really, such a good opportunity to see how simply we can live for everything that we're throwing away or giving away. I don't know that a lot of it needs to be replaced. So again, obviously this little loft is furnished for weekend visitors, but it's just also an example of, gosh, what more do I need? So now we go into this little bathroom. It's funny here in Somerset, if people have small bathrooms, it seems they prioritize having a beautiful bathing tub over a shower. If they can't have both. Obviously they have a handheld shower if needed, but I kind of agree with that. I find that bathing is, it's just much more peaceful and just both refreshing and relaxing at the same time. So, again, the mirror is helping with the reflection to, just making the bathroom feel just a little bit bigger, but nor do you feel cramped when you're in here. It's definitely a very peaceful sanctuary of a moment. Quite lovely. And then before we go outside, I do love this, even though it's orange. I just love the pleated shade of that. And just all these kind of, moment in time things, a radio, tiddlywinks, jigsaw puzzles, lots of books. Really just where time stands still. So the day became quite blustery as my visit continued. So there's not too much outside here, but you can see that it's really like being in a tree house. Really, really lovely. Christina wished that it had been a prettier day, but I'm always very happy with a little bit of rain and some blustering winds and breezes. more flowers from the garden. And this loft was built about 15 years ago. Initially, it was for Christina's work studio, but then it got kind of converted into this weekend, or sometimes people stay longer, retreat. You can see all the Somerset mountains and hills in the background there. So now we're walking towards the vegetable patch, and we've seen that briefly before, but it's relevant to this little visit because, firstly, I just want you to know that Christina does everything herself, from the getting the soil ready, the planting, the harvesting, and all that's in between. And she calls it her therapy. And if you stay at the loft, you get to actually come and get whatever vegetables you want out of the garden, which obviously change depending upon the season. And then also the flowers as well. Those are what we've seen dotted around the loft. Christina's not thrilled with her harvest this year. It's been kind of strange weather, really, really hot, and then a lot of wind. But nevertheless, it's definitely a labour of her love. Typically when I arrive to visit, she's out there with her wheelbarrow and busy doing things. This is just another moment of her vegetable patch. You'll see in a moment those bamboo stakes with flower pots on top to give some structure for the net that goes over, because those particular vegetables the butterflies love, and as pretty as butterflies are, the caterpillars then actually start eating away, so they have to be protected. Now we're walking down again some blustering lavender pathways, and we're going to stop on our way to the washing line, because again, I know this myself from having the prairie. You know, when you have guests coming to stay and then more guests coming, it's called bed flips. Obviously all the bedding has to be changed out, which is quite an ordeal. And so again, for Christina, she'll always opt, when weather allows, to let things air dry. There's nothing more beautiful. I know I've talked about it. I mentioned it in Call the Midwives, the series I'm watching. There's so much beautiful washing lines. So now we're passing, I think this is Wilfred, the younger dog. And I know I showed you this beautiful outdoor area before, but I just love it so much, so I thought we'd have a quick glance at that on our way into the house for tea. I don't know whether you heard the bells ringing a few minutes ago, and that was Christina, I think, beckoning me for tea. And actually on our last visit, I wasn't able to show you properly this part of the house because there was some repair scaffolding going on. So now you can see just how charming and beautiful it is. And there's 3 bowls there with all of her compost. Christina is very respectful of the planet, of the environment. Oh, and now we have Walter waiting for me. But before we go to tea, we have to go to the laundry room. I always love a laundry room. And of course, this is great order for both all the needs for the house and also for the loft. Again, mainly all done by herself. It's terribly organized right now, especially during lockdown. She got that really organized. Many things obviously have been through the wash. They've been on the washing line. They've been ironed. So I don't know, there's just something really pleasing about an organized linen closet. So now we're going to go in the kitchen. There's little Wilfred waiting warmly by the Aga. That's tea, a pot of hot water for my tea. And then I just wanted to end this visit on just all little precious moments that I love from Christina's house that I didn't manage to capture before. So if you're passing through Bath and you want to stay at the loft, you know, it's called the Loft at Bath, Somerset, Airbnb. Well worth a stay. But if not, I hope this was just fun inspiration of just, you know, a small space, but with everything in the whole wide world that you could possibly want. And then we can just end on these last moments. Lots of love to you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye-bye.